Between 1936 and 1939, Spain was at war with itself. The Nationalists, the right wing, which ultimately would be led by General Franco, which ultimately would lead to a dictatorship until 1975, they decided to try and overthrow the Second Republic, which was in charge, the socialist government. And to do that, to win a war, especially a civil war, you want to take the capital. So for 3 years or so, Madrid was a battleground. Madrid was front lines. They managed to make their first insert into the city through this huge city park called the Casa de Campo. And to do that, they wanted to swoop down from the northern Meseta over the Madrid mountains, over the mountains, and down through the northwestern part of the Madrid province, which is where I am now. So I'm here in the little town of Villanueva de la Cañada, and I've come out with Steve because on the ridge just north of the town there are some Republican, which is the left, and some nationalist anti-aircraft bunkers, some old machine gun outposts, and we want to try and find them. So we're out here hunting Spanish Civil War bunkers. So when we talk about the Nationalists, we're talking about the mostly more military side of affairs, so the army, also the Catholic Church, big landowners, old traditional style of Spain. The left, the Republic, was a kind of a well-meaning mishmash of all kinds of things: trade unions, communists, anarchists, foreigners as well. During the Civil War, the international brigades, anyone could come over and fight for the left. And in these hills around the villages of Villanueva de la what's it called? Cañada, where we're going to be finishing today, Valdemorillo, all these kind of places. There was actually a British battalion who fought in these hills, which is interesting for me because I'm a Brit. Thousands of people lost their lives during these campaigns. There was a very famous one near here called the Battle of Brunete, which is a nearby town. And there's a little hillock here, and it's covered in bunkers, and we're going to go check them out. Imagine doing this in summer, though, with like a rifle in your arms and not a meal in your belly. This is bloody steep. Jesus. Bunker. This is a Republican bunker. Two words, but I don't know. Okay, inside a Civil War era bunker. They would have sat here looking for the enemies, keeping outposts, and opening fire on any unassuming nationalists. Who won this battle? Good question. It went back and forth for the whole Civil War, basically, especially in 37, 38, and then nationalists came through and moved to Madrid and took it in 39. Okay, rather off-piste here, but down here there should be an anti-aircraft shelter for when probably the Condor Legion were coming over and bombing the guys. Here she is, look. It's a shelter. Let's go in. Okay. Yeah, please don't collapse. Funky, no? Shit, it's huge. Where does it take us? Do you want to keep going? Keep going. Wow. I presume it comes out. Yeah, it comes out the other side. You right there, Steve? The enemy's gone, and out you go. There are some, well, there is an example of someone who was here first doing something in the area. He spied on the distance an old lime kiln, which apparently is from the 18th century. Don't know what's doing out here, but it's quite cool looking. Do you reckon any of these signatures are from, it's a bit poetic thinking, but do you think any of them are from the Civil War era? People writing in like...
Aran y Albe? I don't think so, maybe.
If you see anyone, if you see like an Instagram handle. Well, Steve, walking around here, do you feel like you're following in the footsteps of Ernest Hemingway?
People following the footsteps of a horse with diarrhea.
Yeah, I think that's happening. Well, we've got a Hemingway, we've got an Orwell. Oh, I'd rather
Hemingway would have loved that joke.
He would have loved it.
He would have loved
I think he wrote it. I'll take the Laurie Lee side of things. Oh, how the equine beast doth shilly out its insides onto the path. That would be his version. Oh dear. Well, this is portentous.
Ooh.
Them Duke boys didn't know what they were getting into that day.
Come on, now we got to go! Ow!
Not on the right, possibly not even allowed here route, but the main route was blocked off, so yeah, that was horrible. Shouldn't have gone through there. But up here is a Republican machine gun outpost. So they would have been fighting in these hills and around here in the 37s, the 38s, maybe the 36 as well. We just walked up a small hill and it's winter, it's about 17 degrees, so it's quite warm. But I'm sweating, I'm tired, I'm enjoying a bit of water. It does kind of make you think, if you have a moment of empathy, how absolutely crappy it must have been. But I suppose that's what happens when you're fighting for what you believe in, which is something I'm lucky I don't have to do. Steve, can we go for lunch now? There on the horizon is the target of Madrid. Just over there in the distance. Oh, that's my finger. So ultimately, the battles out in these sort of foothills were slightly, not in, I don't want to say in vain, but they didn't have much success over the years because ultimately the Nationalists did punch through, did get to Madrid, and in 1939 did take the city. One thing I've always loved about Madrid is it's always had this kind of left-wing, you know, kind of route because it was a socialist city. So when old Frankie G, old General Franco, when he popped his clogs, so sad, in 1975, that is also where the cultural revolution started in Spain, in Madrid. So anyway, speaking of Madrid, we're now in entering one of its tiny little multitudinous towns. I think to honour the memories of the fallen soldiers, we're going to drink loads of beer. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Cool. One of Spain's greatest pleasures is sitting on a terraza after a day's walk, having a cold beer, ordering food. What have we ordered? We've ordered a roasted red pepper tuna salad.
Tuna belly salad.
And some pepper pork loin with potatoes. Gracias. Franzi, porfa. Always with bread. Always say yes to bread. Happy with your little one ruining my shot?
con los tanques y granadas, ay Carmela.
So we've come to the end of our day hunting bunkers, and we're now going to go get the bus back to Madrid. I do implore you all to read a little bit about the Civil War, because it does still kind of inform a little bit about how Spain is today. But yeah, so from Steve and I in Quijorna and the hills, goodbye. Say goodbye, Steve.
Toodles.